Hey guys, welcome back to the channel again here. So like I said in the last video, I'm going to do a build breakdown on Bob's truck here, which is what we call the Ferderado. It basically is called the Ferderado because it has a Silverado engine and it's in an F-150 truck. So let's get into it. Alright guys, so if you follow any of us on Instagram or a little bit of the YouTube video so far, you basically recognize the truck. It's pretty hard not to recognize. I believe it started out as a 1993 F-150. It was a flare side originally. That's obviously not the original box. I believe that's off a 4x4. It says 4x4 on it. I think it was off a diesel. This cab's also off an F-250. But yeah, a little background on the truck here. Bob actually had it like sitting in the bush somewhere at some guy's house, and he basically came into the shop one day where I was working and he said, "Hey man, I want to build a race truck. Would you tune my 5-liter?" And I said, "Do you actually want to go fast?" And he said, "Yeah." And I said, "Okay, well listen to me. We're gonna put an LS in there and we're gonna put a turbo on it." And I thought I'd never see him again. Like I was just like, oh yeah, just like everybody else. I'm never gonna see this guy ever again. He's gonna talk about it and the being about it's like whatever, not gonna happen. But lo and behold, it was like 2-3 weeks later and he's like, "Hey, grab me an engine from the junkyard." And I was like, okay, whatever. So I get an engine from the junkyard for him. He comes picking it up, takes the engine, goes back to his shop. I kind of don't hear from him for a while, and I'm like, I wonder what he's doing. Like, I don't, weird, whatever. Maybe he just has engine sitting there like a lot of people do, and nothing ever happens. And then I come to find out he's building this truck in his shed, and like I'm talking like a shed, like I'm talking like a wood shed with like a light bulb, and like it's funny. He's a mobile mechanic and has lots of nice stuff. But he's working in this shed, building this truck, and I was like, holy shit, this guy's the real deal. He's actually fucking being about it. I'm like, this is fucking awesome. But anyways, let's go over the truck here, guys. So originally, this truck started out as a 6-liter, and it has the exact same turbo on it as my car does. It's an S488. It originally had an S480 on it for like the first race ever, but it was already like a used turbo, and basically the bearings were shot in it, and it killed itself. But shortly after that, went to the S488 Performance World Turbo and ran 6-liter in there for a while. We started pushing things, and we had a few problems with ignition. We started getting E85 contamination in the oil, so we spun bearings in that 6-liter, and then basically to get it where it was in 2019, we ended up at the very end of the year, we were like kind of like, you know, frustrated like you do at the end of the year, and you kind of don't know what to do, and you're kind of like, I'm done racing, and you know, I had lots of problems, and we're just drag racing and learning stuff, right? So we actually, I think I was laying in bed one night and one morning, and we were talking about the truck, and we're like, man, there's, you know, there's a race to go to. And I was like, okay. I'm like, well, what do you want to do? I'm like, do you want to just toss one more engine in it, and like whatever they have at the junkyard? So he's like, well, whatever, see what they got, if whatever, it's cheap, right? So I phoned down to the junkyard and I'm like, hey, what do you got? It's Saturday morning. And they're like, well, we got this engine here, it's a 4.8. It's a 2000, I think it was 6 or 7, so it was Gen 4 rods in it and stuff, good stuff, flat tops. And I'm like, okay, let's get that. And then, so we get this engine, and you'll see, if you go back in my videos, you'll see there's a video where we actually hone the cylinders with the pistons and rods still in the motor and slam that thing in there. And we actually run that motor for the entire year after that, and into part of this year, into part of 2020, and it actually made its fastest pass on a 4.8 is the funny part. Like its fastest pass is still to this day on a 4.8 liter. Anyways, let's get into what's going on with the truck here, and if you guys want to see any of the other little bit before, check out the other videos. But yeah, so right now the truck has a 5.3 in it, and it's expired. We kind of just smashed it together again to kind of do one of those end of the year runs, and it didn't really work out. I think it has some spun bearings in that. It was like pretty much blow by everywhere. I don't know, it's got maybe some bent rods too, I'm not sure. We were pushing it way past the map sensor. I mean, with that 4.8 liter, we were running it, I would say, well over 30 pounds. I would say like 35 pounds. And this engine is just like mine, like it's stock reused head bolts. It does have the Summit Stage 2, not Stage 4 like my car for the camshaft. And then it has the Trick Flow dual valve springs as well. And then everything else is stock. It has stock valve body, stock lifter, stock push rods, stock truck intake, stock truck oil pan, stock truck water pump. Like everything on this truck is basically all truck stuff. And it has the same basic design turbo kit as my car. It has like the stock truck manifolds, but they're actually flipped up and forward on this one just to get up from the steering shaft and up from the bottom of the chassis. And then it's got this big volute on the front of the turbo. It looks pretty cool when it's running. Did switch to manual brakes, so that's the strange master cylinder there. And then if you guys look back in the other videos when we were building it, we did swap Crown Vic suspension. You can see we actually buy a Crown Vic and then we try to blow it up, because really all we wanted was the suspension out of it. So we got the front end off the Crown Vic in here. It's got Viking triple adjustable shocks front and rear on this truck. So it is the Crown Vic bolt pattern now, so basically Mustang bolt pattern. It does have a roll cage in it. It started out as just like a body only roll cage, and now it's actually a frame mounted roll cage. He's got 2 seats in it now. You can see there's a Kirky here, and then there's a Performance World seat over there. Don't mind Bob's girlfriend, she's just hanging out there. She doesn't say much. He has the B&M, I could call it that, this Pro Stick, I think is what that one's called. And then same kind of trans brake as me, and then bump box over here. And this used to be just his backup button because we had timing built into the to build boost or whatever, but we don't do that anymore. So that's about it on the interior of the truck. Out back here, if you guys look in the other videos, we completely cut off the back of this truck, and we kind of were just winging it. It's the first time we ever did this kind of stuff. First time we had a pipe bender. We kind of just started winging it, and we didn't really do as much research as we should have done. We just kind of was like, we're like, man, let's just cut the back of this off and back half of this truck. We're trying to lose some weight, because this truck originally weighed just over 4,000 pounds when it was racing, when it ran that 996 at 136 mile an hour with that 4.8. That would have been in 2019. So when we cut all the back stuff off of this truck, freaking heater just kicked in, of course, but when we cut everything out of this truck, it actually lost almost 1,000 pounds. So I believe the truck right now weighs around 4,200, 4,100 pounds. As you can see, it's got the parachute mount on here, spring mounted or spring launched, and then it has a Performance World fuel cell, Taylor battery box, and then we did add some weight plates because we were trying to get some more weight on this thing, because the weight bias is really, really bad on this truck. It's actually probably 2,200 pounds on the front axle and only 1,000 pounds back here without those weight bars, because it is very, very light with this setup here. And as I said before, it's got Viking triple adjustable shocks on it, and this is a 4-link that we just basically made ourselves, our own design. Same basic setup in the rear. It is the Crown Vic rear end, so it's got 35 spline axles and the same spool as my car. It's running the stock Crown Vic brakes on it, and these are wheels actually that a buddy gave to Bob. They are actually just sitting around, and then we decided to put some bias plies on it because we were just curious if we could get any more traction, because it was such we're having such issues trying to get it to hook, basically, with a radial on it and having no weight on the back. But what we're gonna do this winter here, like coming up right away, is we're actually gonna cut all this off and redesign the whole back suspension so that it works properly on a radial, because this is supposed to be, or is going to be, a 275 car or truck, I guess. So his plans are, I think he's got all the stuff right here. So there's a bunch of brackets here. All this stuff is what the heck's the name of that company? Can't remember the name of that company. It's on here. Oh, Tin Soldier Racing is the brand on those brackets. So that's gonna make a big difference. We're gonna redesign the 4-link on it, and it's gonna work a lot better. I'll get it to separate, you know, all the good stuff. So yeah, I'll probably put some clips in here of some racing this year. We did manage to get it to wheelie after we couldn't get it to launch very good. We're like, you know what? Let's just fucking send it and try to do wheelie because it looks cool. I mean, wheelies are stupid and don't make you go fast, but who doesn't want to do wheelie? Like, if you've never done one before, you want to do one, right? So I'll send some videos of that, or put some videos of that. Here, and then yeah, its fastest pass also was a 9.1 this year, 2020. So ran a 9.1, I believe 153, I believe. So I'll put that in here as well. And then stay tuned, guys, because he's going to do some crazy stuff this year. Like that, I believe that truck will be in the 7s this year, no problem with what he's got planned. So if you guys can comment, like, and subscribe, or either or, whatever, just do something. I'd appreciate it, because you know, we put a lot of work in, and I want to keep this channel going, and looks like the Zook Man's got to go pee. So we'll see you guys in the next one.